welcome to the stage BTC's Mary Rector Gable.
Good morning. Hi, you guys. How are you? Did you have a good time last night? Yeah? Did you go to the bar last night? Nobody. That's why you're here this morning. So yesterday I was talking actually quite a lot, I think, throughout the day, just about teams and mostly, I think, about greatness. I think I was saying yesterday that good is the enemy of great. And I'm going to explain that in a couple of minutes when I actually bring part of my team out. And I think it was so important. The reason I wanted to bring my team to the stage is because our team has really made a commitment to build a culture unto themselves. They've wanted to do this. And we have a lot of millennials. We have a team of 26 women and one man. You met him last night, right? Kevin Givens. And I wanted to, we have not always had a culture that was positive. Like many of you, how many of you have had a walkout before? How many of you have had very difficult things that have happened in the salon? You've had a diva in your salon that really has caused cancer. Well, we've had all that too. We may be a media company, but we've had all of those exact same experiences. And for those of you that are in the room that are owners and are like me at the age of 51, we have 3 or 4 of our senior team that are around my age, and then we have millennials, the dreaded millennials that are not so dreaded. And I'm gonna have you meet them from the ages of, I think, 23, the ones that you'll be meeting, and then all the way up to some of our advertising team that's up to about 40 years old. But most of our team is actually quite young. So I usually, over the years, I give a Monday morning presentation, and actually somebody walked up to me last night and said, "Can you do more of that, please?" For those of you that don't know much about my background, I'm just going to give you a couple of pieces of information about me. And normally I'd have my little country home up on the screens, but I grew up in a really small town without a lot of money. I actually grew up in a farmhouse that when the corn in Illinois, in a small town where the corn would grow, and my driveway was really long, and you couldn't even see my house when the farmers actually planted corn instead of soybeans. And the soybeans, you could see my house, but they planted corn, you couldn't even see my home. And I talk a lot about this 10-speed bike that I wanted, and how I had a lemonade stand at the edge of my driveway in the middle of nowhere with 6 cars that would drive by every single day. And the story is important because the price of anything is the amount of life that you're willing to exchange for it. Success is really about taking the stairs. You will sacrifice if you truly want to be successful, and I don't care if that means that you're 22 or 23 years old, or if you're 50 or whatever it is. You need to figure out what it is that you really want in your life, and then you need to go for it. But you also have to know that it doesn't come without a price, because there's a price to everything. And I grew up in that small town. I was on one airplane until the age of 16 years old. And I remember watching the airplanes fly by my little town 30,000 feet up, wondering, would I ever be on one of those? Would I ever move out of my small little town of just a few thousand people? And like I said, we lived out in a small country home, and we were really quite poor. So I got to the big city. I went to college. I was a geophysics major in college. I was a college dropout. Yay, yay, yay. So I dropped out of college when I was 19 as a junior in college, but I was actually, as I said, a geophysics major, so I wasn't stupid, but I was ready to work and get to the big city. I ended up becoming a recruiter, a headhunter, if you guys know what that is. And I told my father when I was that little kid, which is funny, he's probably sitting in the audience somewhere out here, that I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 25 years old. And he's like, "Well, Mary, how are you going to do that?" And I go, "I don't know, but I'm going to be." Well, it took me until I was 26, but I didn't do it by building an app the new fashioned way. I did it by working 7 days a week and owning a search firm, and at the age of 26, I had $1 million in the bank. I never stopped working. When I started behind the chair, it was 16 years ago. I had this dream of bringing hairdressers together. Long story short, I lost $1.5 million of my own money, and I lost $2 million of my investors' money. And everybody told me it's time to stop, because I almost bankrupted my family. So you guys kept logging on, and you kept logging on, and you kept logging on, and you kept us in business. And as I share a lot, I can never repay you, not only for the gift of that, but for the gift of a passion that I have for what I do that would never exist if it wasn't for all of you. And once we figure out what we're supposed to do in life, the world really does conspire to help us, and I truly believe that. And the wrong doors close, and then the right doors will open, and all of a sudden, amazing things will happen for you, okay? So that's a little bit about my history, and I think it's important for you to understand that I wasn't born with a silver spoon like Harry Josh was talking about yesterday. You know, I wasn't, and I had doors closed in my face constantly. But the point is that it's all about perseverance, and if you don't have it, you're not going to make it. And don't expect other people to know what your dream is or to even see your dream, because it's your dream, it's not theirs. So you have to believe in your dreams so much that you're willing to do anything for it and not be fearful when other people don't believe in that dream. So I want to introduce you to my team, because it does take an amazing team to make the dream work. And I want to introduce you to the positivity of this team. And again, you're going to meet an amazing group of people right now. It's just part of our team. And I selected them just based on a number of different things. But we have not always been here. As I said, the culture inside our company has definitely been not positive in all of the 16 years. So I want you to meet my team. Guys, come on out. And these are the team that literally put together this show, okay? So okay, so we're just going to take a couple of minutes. You guys look great. Don't they look great? Considering none of us have really had much sleep, right? Yeah, Jen, how much sleep have you had?
A few hours each night.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you the team that we have here is we've got editors. This is Lauren and Kristen. So there's two of the editors that you see coming around, walking around. Jen is our design manager, 25 years old, created everything that you've seen in terms of design here at this show. We're going to talk a lot about Jen's personality too. And she always gets into it for the show, as you can tell. She goes for it. And then we have Kristen and Natalie. And they're on Dana's team. Dana's our senior vice president. Has been with me for, I don't know, forever, 11 years. Janet, and they're on her team for advertising. So you guys are on the advertising team, and they make the money for the company. We spend it. Janet actually put together everything that happened in the Connection Center, works with all of our exhibitors, and if she's willing to share some personal things, I know it'll be tough, but Janet's husband passed away just a few months ago, and still she's here and a smile on her face. Pretty incredible. As I said, Dana is my senior VP and in charge of advertising, and has been with me for 11 years when nobody believed in the dream, and she did. She saw something, so thank you for that. Quinn has been in the business. She's been here for 24 years. I know she only looks like she's 24, and she is. She's my daughter, and she's lived this life with me, and she put together everything creatively, and all of the next big thing, and the parties and everything else for this entire show, and it's taken a huge amount off of my plate. So we'll talk, and then, well, you know Kevin. You all met Kevin. Kevin Gibbons, our social media director. He's the only guy here. So we're just going to show you guys a couple of slides and just talk through them a little bit. This is really important, is underestimate young people at your own risk. Now, tell us, who wants to talk about that one? You want to talk about that, Jen?
I can make a point. Mary, first starting here, like, you come out of college and you're given all of these skills in school, but you're scared that no one's going to take you seriously. Like, I'm sure coming out of beauty school, you have all these skills, but who's going to trust you that you actually know what you're doing? And Mary, she trusts the young people. She knows that we have the passion and we're willing to work, and she gives us a chance. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, I started my first company when I was 22 years old, and I've never worked for anybody else. I'm sure I would have been fired many times over because of my mouth. But But I've always believed that young people are incredibly capable, and it's up to them to make that decision as to whether or not they want to be great. And anybody else want to speak to that is, and I say underestimate young people at your own risk, because from a technology perspective, we don't know what we're doing with technology. Anybody over the age of probably 40, 45, and you guys live it. I mean, I think it's a great example.
If anything, you almost work harder because you are trying to make such a great impression, and you say, okay, here's this 23-year-old coming in, not knowing what she's doing, and it pushes you. It kind of lights a fire under you, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be the first person here. I'm going to be the last person to leave. And then you see an entire team who fights to be the last person in the office. I remember last Friday, about 2 Fridays ago, a couple of us were in the office prepping for the show, because, I mean, it's an amazing show that, 30 women plus a man, Kevin, is able to put together, and it's absolutely incredible. So a couple Fridays ago, we were here until about 8 o'clock, and one of our girls back there, Christine, she just wanted to wait until everything was good and ready to go, and it's just amazing. And she's 23 years old, and she just wanted to wait on her Friday night when she still had to commute an hour back, just so she could stay to make sure that we were all prepped and ready to go. Because that's what I think that you guys need as a small team, a salon. You guys always have your backs. If someone calls in sick, you know that your salon member is going to take it for you. So it's just really about trusting each other and really always being prepped and ready to go.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. I talked about that one a little bit, and we talked about that one too. Good is the enemy of great. So who wants to tell everybody what happens in an interview with me when you come into the office?
Well, I mean, you say it perfectly, Mary, but I can try my best. Actually, you take it away.
Well, you guys know. Take it, Kristen.
So Mary always says, if you want to be good, this isn't the place for you. If you want to be great, this is the place for you. Because for us, good is not good enough. Everything we do, we strive for greatness, and it's all for you guys. We want to get things, Lauren and I are both the editors, and we want to get everything up as soon as possible, but we want to get it up and we want to have it correct. It has to be great because you guys deserve the best. So Mary's always asking that in the interview, and if someone says they want to be good, that's not the answer.
It's not. I mean, it's, as we were talking about, good is really the enemy of great. And what I say to everybody is if you want to be good, this is a terrible place to work. There are many of the entrepreneurs in this industry. If you think of Horst and so many of these amazing, people that Vidal Sassoon, who grew these companies, and some people would tell you they were awful human beings because they made them work so hard. And then you had other people that would say they saw something in me I didn't see in myself. And same leader, two very different perspectives. And I think that comes from one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you guys is and Jen, tell us that story, Jen, about what happened to you at Stylist Choice Awards a couple years ago.
I was very new, straight out of college, probably like 6 months into it. And my manager at the time that I looked up to left, just walked away. And we had the show in 2 weeks or so?
For 4,000 people.
I had never been to an SEA before. I'd only ever heard about it. And I mean, this entire team, they believed in me, so I believed in myself. It takes a team to get through it all, but we get there and we were given the wrong specs or so, and instead of like freaking out, well, maybe in my head I freaked out, but I had to basically redo the entire show. And it had to happen, or else there wouldn't have been a show for you guys. So I knew that it had to happen. And I grabbed a beer, I grabbed a Red Bull, and I sat there. I made some jokes, and I just knocked it out for the team. And yeah.
And to that point, because we've had, and I want you guys to share that same kind of thing. When Lauren first got here, I remember you were like, one day you were like huffing and puffing, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I'm checking myself. Tell them a little bit of story about what you guys have done as editors when we live in a very stressful environment in a show like this. Every day we live in a stressful environment. I mean, big time, because we're trying to do so many things with a young team and just a small team. But tell them about, because I think this is so important for everybody out there. what decision that you made to really make lemonade and with lemons and in general?
We're very protective of our culture, just like you all are probably very protective of your culture at your salons. So we strive every day to make everything as perfect for you as possible. And if there's ever a roadblock that gets in our way, we kind of just look at each other and we have kind of like secret words. Sometimes we say like sparkle, sometimes we say bubbles. We just try to keep ourselves really light and happy because it will come across to you guys, and we can't add that stress to you. So we want to keep our work as perfect and positive for you as possible, so then you can take that back to your salons, and we're just very protective of the culture that we've developed.
And Mary was kind of talking to us before the show about what the theme should be, and she kind of came up with light, and we've all been talking about it in the office. And like Mary was saying, we're in a lot of very stressful environments sometimes, and you can either choose to like get upset and like be negative, or you can be like, this is my situation, and I'm gonna just choose to be positive, and I'm gonna have fun with the people I'm working with. And problems might happen, but you're gonna work with it. And that's kind of what we do at Behind the Chair. And I think that that's kind of a really important thing for anyone to be able to do, and especially in the salon, because, I don't know, you have those crazy days, Saturdays, where everything is going wrong, but you have to like put on a happy face for your clients, and yeah, that's kind of what Light's all about for us.
And just to kind of play off of that, you know, you guys go into the salon and you may be that one person going into a completely negative salon every single day. It may be exhausting, you know, and we're not all perfect. Some days we have bad days, but each of us will pull each other up and come into the office, we'll say something funny, and it's, you know, you have to understand that even if you're that one person, you may not know it at the time, but you guys radiate that energy, and it's really important to maintain that. It's difficult, it's exhausting, but I promise you it is so valuable to the people around you, whether or not they are expressing it to you, whether or not they realize it that week or 3 months from now at a new position. So it's really important to just maintain that, and you know, you're doing it for you and you're doing it for your team.
I want to go back to the salon owner bit a little bit, and also, can I, like, I didn't, we got dressed this morning before Mary told us we were going to be on stage, so
They are so unprepared.
A skirt that was
bring,
this short.
Kristen, I'm going to bring that up because I spring things on them a lot, right? Oh, by the way, we're going to change the whole theme of the show about 12 minutes before. Kevin, what's the saying that you always say last year? What did you say? And then I'll let you speak. What did you say last year?
Last year after the show. Oh, hi, everyone. Last year after the show, we were talking with one of the, I think it was one of the sound guys, and he's like, I'm just so happy that it's done, and Mary's happy, and everything worked out well. And I turned around and looked at him, and I said, oh, that's cute. You think because it's done, Mary won't change it? So true. It happened yesterday, Mary. I don't care. Change it.
But it's actually true, and I think like when we changed the show to light, do you remember what happened right before that?
We saw a rainbow right outside.
We saw a rainbow right outside, and I had to come in and tell Jen that I'd made a decision to change the whole theme of the show. And we walked outside, and there was a huge rainbow right outside, and it was sort of my sign to myself that I needed to do that. The idea is that great sometimes gets changed at the end. If you want to make something that much better, good is just really not good enough. And the team, your team that's around you, has to believe in you enough that they're willing to make that sacrifice to do what needs to be done. And many times, they don't get my attention, so they have to be great to the best of their ability and just do it, and they do, and take responsibility for that. But Kristen, what were you going to say before you pulled your dress down?
Well, I know, right? What Natalie was saying before about if you're working at a salon and you're a hairstylist and you're surrounded by negative people, you have so much power to kind of shift that energy. And I was thinking also as a salon owner, thinking about putting the salon owner hat on, back what you were saying before, and I didn't say it, and I think it's so important too. I feel like at this point, I'm 40, so I feel like I'm between the old and new shift of what people are doing. And I feel like there's the old school salon owner way of doing things, and then there's this new millennial way of doing things. And I feel like millennial's been this bad word up until now. And I recently heard a couple of quotes that I thought were really important, and I think if you choose to hear them and listen to them and implement them, I think you'll be more successful with all millennials or young people, people who are new out of school visionaries. And it was, the currency for millennials is purpose. And it was, if you are having a hard time managing millennials, if you have a hard time managing millennials, then you don't know the right currency. And I think as salon owners, what you can do is, and this is great for the world, and when Mary was talking about light and everything like that, is give purpose to your employees more than everything being money motivated and stuff like that. And I think millennials will like fly with all of that. And also with social media, how important social media is right now, they can really do a better job at so much than older, more experienced people can. I see that all the day behind the chair. Like these guys right out of college blow all of us away. So that's something you can bring into a salon too. I think the two different generations can kind of help each other there. I mean,
As also one of the senior team members, because I'm like Mary,
We're the
51
senior
years old,
citizen.
feeling a little bit older than our wonderful, amazing young team. I've been with Mary for 11 years, as she shared, and people often ask me, how have you survived 11 years with Mary? But the reason why I came to her 11 years ago was because she shared the vision. And I think that that's so important as a business owner with your team, is to always share the vision. As you said, share the purpose, share the reason why. And, from that becomes an incredible belief and trust. And Mary gave me that great gift of entrusting the business to myself and our team. And by continuing to share the vision now onto my team, we all can make incredible things happen that sometimes we don't even believe can happen. But it is in sharing that vision, that purpose with your team, that you can create great trust and make impossible things possible.
I think one of the things that's really important is I have, divas are done. We've all had a diva. I've had many divas inside our organization, not including Kevin, of course. And all I'm going to say is cancer, I didn't get the memo on how to manipulate, but I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people that did get the memo, and they do it really, really, really well. And when you get a little piece of cancer that ends up in your environment, you better get rid of it right away. Hire slow and fire fast. Fire really fast in that situation. And you cannot be fearful that they're your biggest booker, because I'll promise you that biggest booker will take 3 or 4 people with them. They'll take them down. There's a great book called The Motivation Manifesto, and it says, beware of the saboteur of dreams, cloaked as a friendly advisor. Beware of the saboteur of dreams, cloaked as a friendly advisor. Beware of the person inside your organization that tells people, why would you work so hard? They're never going to acknowledge you. Your dreams are just too big. That's something that I think happens with so many of the stylists that are here, where they're the only person in the salon that is working hard, trying to achieve, becoming part of One Shot. We heard that story so many times where that person felt alone, and it's so important that you surround yourself with like-minded people who are truly, truly willing to, that want to be great. Because when you have that person inside your organization, a lot of people are followers, and that's just the nature of what they are, and they're chameleons. They have the ability to be a chameleon. So if you have a piece of cancer, they're gonna remind that person, they shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be like that. And what happens is that they go, yeah, you're right. You're right. They shouldn't be doing that to me. And it ends up creating 3 or 4 or 5 people. And once that starts to snowball, you can't get rid of it. And you'll go down. And we've had that happen. There's no question. These guys know. And I think Natalie, there was a point where, Natalie really stepped up at a point for us where we had some pretty negative things going on with young people, and you need young people to stick up for what management is saying and believing. Because when we hire a manager, the manager's not supposed to be there to be the Teamster union boss. The manager's there because they're supposed to share your vision, and that's why you made them a manager. And even when things are not necessarily the way that you want them, as a team like the Army, you've got to have a sense of control, and people need to respect that. And it's your vision and your culture. You cannot allow anybody to take that away from you because they didn't start that. You have to make sure that you protect that. And we talk about that all the time, is protecting this amazing culture that we now have in our organization, which did not exist. So that's what I'm sharing with you. We have had as many problems as all of you, and you can't change people that way. Like, there's something that says attitude over aptitude. Attitude is everything. You can't change, it is so difficult to change somebody's attitude. If they're a chameleon, they're gonna have the attitude of whomever is around them that takes that leadership cancer role or the positive. And when it was negative, Natalie, you remember you like literally stepped in, you and Kristen did, and you guys said, we're gonna take control of the young people in this company and not allow the cancer to happen here. Do you want to share that?
Like I mentioned before, I think it comes down to you have a decision, you have a choice to walk into a situation, hear people out and understand, ask them where they're coming from, where that negativity is coming from, and at the end of the day, you can only control how you're going to react to them. You cannot change their attitude. And I think that as long as you maintain that positivity and really lift each other up, I think that at the end of the day, you're gonna end up weeding out who's really negative in your company, your salons, and it's just gonna benefit your team overall. It's hard to have those conversations, but I think that you can't bury them under the rug. You really have to go to your team, rely on them. I know that I can't expect any one of you to do any less than, I can't give less than 100% and ask you guys to not do the same. And so if you have somebody that isn't giving that, you really have to either encourage them, and if they're not willing to do it, I agree with Mary, you have to just swiftly make that decision to move forward and continue on with the staff that is giving you 100, 200, 300%.
That's great.
And I just kind of want to, add on to what everyone's talking about in a sense. How many salon owners actually in here? I mean, a lot, yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. 'Cause
that's
we
hard.
know how easy that is, right? But the thing about Mary having us all up, and obviously we're a people company. I mean, and I think the most important thing to remember in your salon, whether you're an owner or whether you're a stylist or whether you're an assistant, is that, and I know buy is a dirty word in the hairdressing world, but remember this: people, your clients don't buy products, they buy people. So your stylists, they come to you for your stylists and how they're treated. How many people in here know someone in their salon that couldn't cut a baseline to save their life, but they're busier than life, like everyone loves them? I see one hand back there. No one wants to admit it. But I think, it's really like what we're all saying up here is that Mary, and I don't know if she's ever said this to everybody, but Mary, she looks for misfits a little bit. Like we're all had our different kinds of life. And wait, and who in here is not a misfit, right? If you're a misfit, raise your hand. But I think, it's truly about people. And I think, as salon owners and in this industry, if you take care of your direct people, they're going to take care of the clients. And I'll just say this. I think, and it's a constant struggle for all of us. I mean, all of us. That, the negativity can pop up. It's kind of all over the place, and it's easy to catch it. And one of my favorite stories of all time is about the two wolves. We all have within us two wolves fighting. And you have to think about it this way. One of them represents negativity and fear and jealousy. And the other wolf represents light, positivity, encouragement. And then you ask yourself, which wolf wins? The wolf that wins is the one you feed. And it's as simple as that. And I think we all we remember that. I mean, like when we all start, we have our moments, it's pretty stressful, but there's there's that, you have to choose though. You have to choose that positivity. And Mary started by choosing a bunch of misfits, and we all love each other, so.
Which often I think happens because so many of us, we actually have a lot of introverts on our team, don't we? I think we have a ton of introverts on our team, and I think it's true. We do have a lot of misfits, but I think sometimes misfits are also so many people who want to be great are not always surrounded by other people who want to be great, and you feel very alone. And when you can surround yourself with other people who want to be great, you never feel alone. And it's why great is so different than good, is there's just not as many of you out there. And it takes time, and I think this is such a great slide, is it's a choice. Like, you can be a victim or a victor. There's always the other side to every coin, and it's easy to be a victim. It's so easy, and it's so fun to be a victim because you could just give up so easily. And so many other people have given up on their dreams, so, I'm going to take you down with me. And why be a victim when you can be a victor? I mean, Janet, go ahead. I think that's a good one for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not just me because of circumstances. I feel so blessed to be on the team that I am today. It's been a difficult 2 years for me. I've been with Mary for 5 years. My husband became very ill with cancer just under 2 years ago. And we have houses, we have bills to pay, we have careers, we have jobs, we have responsibilities. You have to make that choice. Am I going to fight? Am I going to keep going, or am I going to allow myself to play the victim and search for sympathy, for constant assistance, for crutches from others? Certainly you have to take care of yourself, and you do need that. But with this group, it's like they talked about earlier. They pushed me. They were there for me when I had meltdowns, when I cried, when I needed support. They were there. But the culture that is here, that Mary has established, as has been the common thread through all of this discussion, is you make a choice. You want to continue furthering your career. You have to put food on the table. You have to pay the mortgage or the rent. So you find a way with your network. Not all of you have the network. So it's also about perspective. And the girls hear me talk about that a lot. There are 2 words that are my favorite words in the English language. And one is perspective. I was raised to believe that we don't know what goes on behind closed doors with the person we're speaking to at a certain moment. I have no right to judge any of you. I don't know who you are. The first thing I would say to you today, if I saw you this morning out front, was thank you for being here. You invested in us, you believed in us, you had faith in us, and I'm so grateful for that. We're all grateful.
And know that we don't take that lightly.
But that perspective is my choice with all I've been through the last 2 years, and many people have had, there's always someone who has it worse than you. My mother just ingrained that in me growing up. So my perspective is to put myself in your place. And you're counting on me, you're counting on us. So I walked through the doors this morning with very little sleep, aching feet, and not knowing that we were going to be doing this. And I adopted the perspective that I really wanted to do this for all of you. And so perspective is everything. It's everything. And when you know what? When you have a tough day, you gotta suck it up. You have to suck it up. The second word is patience. Does anybody know what that means? It's a tough one.
I think she's talking about being patient with me.
Patient. No. All of us. When we're busy, we're working so fast, we're stressed, we've got so much on our minds, and with electronics, everything is so instantaneous. And we talk about millennials and their ability to communicate and execute so much quicker than I can, and I'm the first to admit to them, and I search for them for help at times, and I'm grateful. But patience. When you're in a situation where you're uncertain, you're feeling stressed, you're going to make a decision, take 10 seconds, and you can take 10 seconds and stop, take a deep breath, take a step back, and think for just a few moments about what you're going to say or do. Just make yourself do that. I promise you, it will change your life. So that's...
Well, with that, for everybody, I wanted you guys to meet the team that puts this on. I know we've got some hair to look at. For all the millennials in the room, Jen, I'm going to let you I want you to tell the millennials in this room what you think greatness looks like.
On behalf of all the hairdressers here, thank you for changing our lives. Thank you for your story. My life, this is the first time I've come to an event like this.
I paid her to do this. I don't know her.
I don't know any of you. I don't know any of you. This is my first time here. My life has changed. I'm from New York. I live now in Florida. And I was giving up. I was walking out of my shop, giving it to one of my girls, passing on the baton, because I said, you know what? I'm just done. I'm from New York. It's so different here, but you have brought it back. You gave me a spark, all of you. I just want to get to my shop. I'm starting over. I bought equipment. I'm changing my life. And I love you. Change my life. Thank you. No. Thank you. You created something amazing. Thank you for not giving up when nobody believed in you, because I gave up on myself. And now I have a light. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for allowing me to share my team and their vision. If there's anybody in the room that doesn't understand why it's important to be great, when we put up on that screen, people always say, it's good enough for a hairdresser. And our team, we live by the motto, is it good enough for a hairdresser? So thank you guys so much for this amazing team. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you.